Hello, everyone, and welcome to Esports Update Weekly. I am Kevin Tagupa, and I am joined by Christy Liu. How are you doing this week?
You're doing good this week. We're starting finals for school, so a few things are really picking up now.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that I have finished my school, but I am still on the grind in terms of gaming and trying to get everything together. I finally got my motherboard in after it was defective, so
Oh,
to
nice.
rebuild my computer, and that's going to be a lot of fun coming into this next week. But this week, we are going to be tackling a lot. We have the controversial Overwatch League team that has completely wiped their roster and has to grab a new one, and they have a match coming up this weekend. We have Gen G, who has announced their Valorant roster, and a new Battle Royale variety games coming to. What is this for the Valorant player base? Oh, to
It's
rival the
coming to
Valorant player
rival
base.
Valorant player base, so stay tuned. We're going to talk a lot about this. It's going to be pretty big. It's to hint at it, it's going to hint appeal to a lot of more casual players. There's a lot of game modes, lots of things to explore. It's you're going. I guarantee you know who this publisher is going to be. Um, it's also combining a lot of top tier games, kind of like how Valorant did, but they're taking it in a different direction. So a lot of new things to talk about today. Aside from that, we also have events coming up, which is going to be through 3 games. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we have quite a bit in the show. This lineup for this week is pretty hefty. But let's get it started. We're gonna be talking about the Overwatch League and what it has for us. So, the first thing that we have to discuss is the new changes to hero bans. So hero bans or the hero pool, it now only affects masters and above. So anybody who is under masters now gets to play whatever they want.
It's
Um,
free.
it's free. The community does have a lot of mixed feelings when it comes into this. There are a lot of people who are saying, oh well, Smurfs are just going to play whatever they want in lower ranks,
Mhm.
and then at the same time, it's kind of like you know you're hindering higher tier players from playing certain heroes that they want is kind of getting punished for playing at a higher level.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's something that is coming up, and it's very interesting to know that it's only going to affect that, and the numbers are now only going to be taken from, I believe, the league.
Yep. Yeah. So there's a lot of mixed opinions. I think I'm okay. I actually like this new change. I don't feel limited anymore because I do have my favorite hero pools, which I'm sure everybody does, and I'm very tired of it getting banned. So this is very exciting news for me. How about you?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like as a tank player, sometimes like you just can't play a game because certain
Ryan's
heroes are
banned.
banned.
Oh
Like
my
Ryan's
god.
banned. Ryan's banned. What am I gonna do? Like I can't just play my game. But like I'm fine playing off tank, but we get to a point where I want to keep doing the same thing, and it feels okay. But um, I do understand like, hey, they want to switch up the meta, but I feel like that should be done through patch notes instead.
Mm.
But we could definitely talk about that later down the line as well. If we want to get into that whole can of worms, we can. Um, but yeah, it's going to be really interesting coming into these next few weeks, and higher level of gameplay. We are going to see the hero pools and bans, but anything below that, don't really have to worry about that. But we are going to dive into the scheduled results that we had for this week. So there were 10 games that were played this weekend. Um, some of the ones to highlight this week, definitely the New York Excelsior versus the Shanghai Dragons. That was a full reverse sweep. So it went, New York won the first two, and then the Dragons clawed their way all the way back to win the series. Um, these games weren't short either. I had the pleasure or punishment of sitting through all these games, and each of them took about 2.5 hours each. I was sitting in front of a screen for about like 15 hours a day. It was not fun. But honestly, like these games are good. If you're trying to look for some high level gameplay, um, between for sure, like the Valiant and the Rain had a really good series. The Fusion versus the Eternal, very good matchup once again. Um, and then with this first week, by the way, this is the first week that Echo is allowed to be played in the competitive scene. So we did get a lot of highlights, especially from Rascal from the San Francisco Shock. He did really well on that. And same thing with EQO from the Fusion. So that team is going to be very scary once you start seeing, you know, the EQO Carpe combo, but along with potentially the Architect and Rascal combo or anybody else. But they're just showing how well Echo can be played in this new meta and how it really does change the way how the game is played. But it's going to be really interesting to see it come into the next week, considering the new hero bans or the new pools that are going to be affecting this.
Yeah. And staying on the topic of Overwatch League teams, yesterday the Esports Club announced that the Titans have dropped their entire roster midway through the season. So while players and staff were originally based in Vancouver, the players relocated back home to South Korea once the league moved online. And with this move back to Korea, the initial plan was to move the team to the Asian division and continue to play the new schedule from the comfort of their homes. But it was soon very clear that this would be a tremendous challenge as the time difference made it difficult for management and the home fan base to connect with the teams. And it also created a lot of technical difficulties for the players playing from home. And then last week, the Titans also let go of their head coach, Hwang Pajeon Jisub, and top player Hyunwoo Jaejanu Choi with no explanation. So this move means that the Titans currently don't have a roster to play in their matches this weekend. But according to a report from the ESPN, the club also plans to sign the roster team from Second Wind to the in the second tier Overwatch contender circuit to play in their matches.
Yeah, so this was for sure very unexpected coming out from the
Mhm.
Vancouver Titans, who are the runners up from last year's championships. Like they gave the San Francisco Shock a really good run. They were, literally one of the top teams in the entire league. But to understand that, like, the entire roster is now gone, they have to scramble to get a team together. They do play next week, so they have to have, a roster. You can't not just forfeit your spot. Um, but yeah, signing an entire second wind contender team is going to be interesting. The hero bands this week, by the way, are going to be Ash, Reaper, Sigma, and Brigida. Um, so this does make me feel like, where does Echo sit here? We know that she's totally fine from the hero pool. She's been played. But do you think that this is going to do anything in terms of, what the hero pools are now that we have McCree and Widow back in the pool? You have Mercy, Farah, and Echo back in the pool. What does this mean?
I feel like we're gonna have a lot of switching going around just to counter some people. I think, like now that you have a wider range of heroes to battle for the skies, which is a very dominant comp and very strong comp. But you also have McCree, Ash, and Widow. Oh, sorry, no Ash, but McCree Widow. So McCree is going to put a lot of pressure on a 3v2 kind of scenario with Widow and McCree against Pharmacy Echo. So I think we're going to see a lot of switching come around depending on who really outskills the other on these champion heroes right now.
Yeah, I feel like it is going to be a game of counter picks. Like,
Mhm.
if a team wants to run the Echo, then you have to go Widow McCree. If you go Widow McCree, then that means you're not necessarily focusing on, dealing damage to the tanks, and the tanks could kind of do their own thing. So it's a whole bunch of stuff that we have to consider going back into this. But I felt like one of the funnier things, at least from this week, other than the insane schedule and long matches, was a little bit of a feud between the New York Excelsior and the San Francisco Shock. If you guys ever caught on to that tweet, it was the New York Excelsior essentially said, "Who says peace out?" Right? and the Shock said, "Oh, you're 2-0 lead against the Dragons," and then they shot back and they're like, "Your MVP player," and then they shot back and you're like, "Your finals appearance," and so it was just really funny to watch that go back and forth. That was between like Super, the NYXL, and the Shock. So we get to see a little bit of a feud coming out, and then hopefully we get to see that brew over or into something coming into the midseason tournament. And yeah, especially when it's the two best teams in the league, it's going to be really interesting to see that all come together.
All right, so moving into Valorant, we're going to talk about Gen G and their new Valorant squad. So their new Valorant squad has entered the competitive scene in Tier 1's 25K Invitational, which brought together some of the best players across the North American region, and the results were closer than ever. So the tournament started with a swift set of 2-0 matchups as Genji, Mousebaz, Sentinels, and Team Brax all punched their tickets to the second round in the upper bracket. And Team Shroud were among the big names to drop into the lower bracket as they were knocked out by Mousebaz. And never dropping a single map, Genji dominated the bracket to win the Invitational, and the players on the teams include 11 player 1 Champagne, Anthony GMG Gumont, Loic Effie's Sauviju, Danny Hyun, and Michael Mkel DeLuca.
So yeah, these players all come from like a solid CS background, which
Mhm.
I am really excited to see um, if more of these players do move over into Valorant. But this was definitely a dominant performance. We got to see a lot of really great talent showcase what they do best. Um, and yeah, going into other smaller tournaments, I had the Ronin Rumble last week. Um, I was able to cast the losers finals and grand finals. Sadly, Kairos and the squad did not get there.
Almost.
But the two teams that he did suffer losses to made it to the quarterfinals. So they were really, really good teams. Not gonna lie. So yeah, these teams are kind of insane. Congrats to Third Impact for winning the entire tournament. And then on top of that, with Art U and all of us starting to feel the Valorant train a little bit, we're starting to do a little bit of tryouts. I heard that you were setting that up throughout the week.
Yep. So if you check our Discord announcements or our Twitter, if you're a student, we're putting together a beta team to compete in a tournament coming up towards the end of May, which I'm waiting for the other school, the official school hosting, to make an announcement because it's a really big thing right now.
Yeah, we're all on the DL there. They have also approached me in terms of casting it, so I might take them up on the offer, but it is still like a long process, and so they still have to hash out a lot of things.
Mhm.
But I'm definitely looking forward to it. If you guys want to take a shot and you do go to the school, make sure to contact Christy and all of everybody else, and get those games in. Yeah, moving on into the next one. We are on twitch.tv and a whole bunch of other platforms, but one of the more important things that they just introduced is the esports tab. What this does is that it organizes any form of esport for games and just kind of puts it all in a tab. So you can watch, the top games according to what you watch the most. It's a really nice way of organizing all of the high level pro events without having to bounce between each individual stream and knowing, okay, I have to watch this one or this one. It's kind of like a multi-view where I can see, if there's 4 tournaments going on at the same time, I can watch all of them and then choose which one I want to like highlight. Or if there's like a team fight happening here or a really epic match happening here, you can hop between the two. And then on top of that, they show a list on the side of all of the players that are streaming their perspective from said tournament. So it's a lot more organized. If you are trying to look at a competitive scene, it is organized on Twitch. So if you guys want to hop in, take a look at some pro gameplay, go ahead and take a stab at that. So Christy, what tournaments are you thinking about watching uh, using possibly the esports tab?
Now that we have a tab, which is what I've been waiting for, considering I watch a lot of I'm trying to get heavily into the esports scene, so I'm trying to broaden my view like just watching experience. So I like this tab because now I can just click on a random esports tournament and just learn about it. Like it's I don't have to search for it like how you used to before, you know. Now it's just like, hey, recommended. Look at this, it's new. Look at this, it's new. It's like I just excited for this overall.
It's all in one spot. Like we used to, at least for Christy and I, when we were trying to look for, esports tournaments to kind of base our tournaments off of,
Mhm.
we would have to go on like Twitter and find like, one person who's
You have to
somehow
dig for it, basically.
streaming this, and then you have to see, oh, do they have casters? How are they organizing it? And then dig for it and then hope that it's good. But now that Twitch is just like, you know what? Here's a Fortnite tournament. Here's a tournament here. Here we go. You just go from there, and it's a lot easier to deal with.
Mhm.
Um,
So with esports being a big thing, TikTok is also looking to get into the esports scene, as they have officially partnered with the Collegiate Star League, which is one of the most world-renowned esports organizations. And what they plan on doing is they're trying to create a new type of tournament. So if you don't know what Collegiate Star League is, they cover games through League of Legends, Rocket League, CS:GO, and Fortnite. So the TikTok Cup matches and prizes are approximately going to be around $60,000, and will be going to the top teams across a mix of popular esports titles. They also announced that there might be more to come in terms of game titles, meaning that maybe they'll add Valorant to that list. We don't know yet. But even if you aren't in the tournament yourself, TikTok will also be giving away prizes to any and all players who sent in TikTok videos for staff consideration. And what they're doing with these videos is they're going to also show it on the tournament broadcast live. And if you a while back, I don't it was I think it was sometime last year, they TikTok also partnered with Fortnite to make a Fortnite dance challenge. And so what you did you submitted a dance through TikTok, and if Fortnite liked it, you were going to be in the game dancing. That's how we got if you know Pokemon's dance emote, she actually submitted through TikTok, and there were a bunch of other funny ones, cool ones coming in through TikTok.
yeah, I do like how the social media platform is trying to broaden its audience by reaching into the Collegiate Star League, and especially for the Collegiate Star League, this is really good for
Mhm.
promotion. You have people who wouldn't necessarily be watching esports now moving over, and then vice versa. You have a little bit of star power moving in as well. So I do also hope that they expand into other games. Like I do understand, Rocket League, League of Legends, CS:GO, and Fortnite are currently, some of the bigger powerhouses. When there are other tournaments coming up, you should, obviously make the adjustment when you have the option to.
Mhm. If they take up Valorant, are you looking to get into this scene with them as well, or?
I feel like it would be interesting to take a stab at this. Sadly, I'm not a college student, so I can't necessarily participate in the actual gameplay. But broadcast half, I don't mind. I'll show up. I feel like the one thing that we need though, if we are going to be talking about dance challenges and Fortnite stuff, we need emotes in Valorant. We need a little bit more than just the salt spray after you kill somebody. You need to, uh, you know, maybe it's per character. You know how we have it in Overwatch, you can customize your emote.
Oh, like customized sprays.
Yeah,
That
like
I'm sure
e-
it's coming.
either more custom sprays or emotes. So like if you do like kill somebody hilariously, you can do something funny with it.
Yeah. So with that, as we mentioned in the earlier thing, if you know what Amazon is doing, they're up to a new game called Crucible. And what Crucible is a new free-to-play PC game from Amazon's original game development arm. So it's launching literally in 2 weeks from today. So, and the studio has mostly focused on tablet games released through its Android app. So, but this is going to be their first PC game that they're really putting a lot of budget into. And then Crucible will feature a roster of different characters with specific abilities. And then what's interesting is Amazon isn't calling them heroes like other games do. I believe they're going with characters. It hasn't been really stated, but they are not addressing them as heroes. So in Crucible, there are three main game modes. There's Heart of the Hives, which is a 4v4 mode battle royale style contest. There's also Alpha Hunters, which is eight duo against. So you have eight duos against one another in a battle royale. And Harvester Command. This is the interesting one, where you have two teams of eight players, and what your objective is to collect essence and level up your characters mid game. It's more of like a PVE almost kind of scenario instead of a battle royale type. And then so we have a video to check out. So let's take a look at that.
Welcome to Crucible, where each match is a struggle for control. You and your teammates won't just be going toe-to-toe with the competition. You'll have to adapt to and overcome everything the planet itself throws at you. You'll work together with your fellow Essence Hunters to take down alien creatures, capture objectives, and crush your opponents in search of victory. Crucible attracts all types. Soldiers, criminals, rogue agents. Hunters team up in 3 different game modes. Heart of the Hives is a 4-on-4 race to capture the hearts left behind by monstrous hive creatures. In Alpha Hunters, you and a partner take on all comers in a fight to be the last hunter standing. Harvester Command has 2 teams of 8 competing to see who can rack up the most essence by controlling essence harvesters. Welcome to Crucible. Get in there and show the galaxy what you're made of.
All right. And so, if you didn't know, as I mentioned earlier, Amazon is the company making Crucible. With that being said, Amazon is also the company that owns Twitch. So this could hint that they may offer some marketing advantages. And the creators seem to be targeting casual players as well as competitive ones. Well, Valorant is pretty much only catering to the competitive crowd. So as I mentioned, this is going to be more of a casual player focused game. And then at the time of creation, Amazon was planning on some element of Twitch integration that would give it a kind of a unique edge by letting one player live stream the game as sort of a game master overseeing the matches. And basically, what that means is that you're not going to watch one perspective. You will now have the option to jump between the game and watch different perspectives, which is something that only Crucible will be able to offer as it is published by the same company that owns Twitch. And Crucible isn't the first of the two isn't the only but a big budget game that Amazon Game Studios is releasing this year. They are also announcing New World. It's coming out later this in summer during August, and but very little known is about this title. Very little is still known about this title besides it being a massive multiplayer game online.
So yeah, it does sound like Crucible is going to be a, something that's going to drag more people to Twitch. We know that they've done Twitch integration before, with like, the Overwatch League tokens. We've also had the integration when it came to like Borderlands 3 and how like other viewers can change the way how the bosses play in Borderlands. They can buff it, they can make it stronger, they can give it an extra life, like other things like that. Just depends on how many viewers are watching and how hard they want to make your gameplay. But yeah, this does sound like a really exciting idea, especially coming from Amazon. They are slowly branching out into other things. But yeah, New World is going to be around the corner, and Crucible looks like it's got a lot of competition coming into its way, but it could also appeal to a larger crowd because of the number of game modes that they have.
All right, so going to GDC. So GDC has been jumping around this entire year with the pandemic going around. So GDC is now an online event. So we don't know where it's going to be placed quite yet. It might be placed on YouTube most likely, or the original San Francisco, will be August 4th through the 6th.
So yeah, this was an original thing to San Francisco. We were supposed to have GDC back in March. GDC, by the way, is the Game Developers Conference. It is just a place where a bunch of game developers all hang out and show off their new games, either give us demos and prototypes, and discuss what's coming up on the cutting edge of gaming. But yeah, we still don't know if it's going to be on YouTube, if it's going to be on Twitch. August 4th through the 6th. I know that you were definitely looking forward to this event when it was going to be held at a LAN setting.
Yeah.
How do you think this is going to change the way how people are going to be connecting over, this conference? Do we have to just send do we have to all make PDF versions of our business cards to ship over, or how are we doing this?
Well, first of all, I'm just going to automatically assume that the crowd will be bigger now that they don't have a limit, because GDC, they usually have a limit on how many tickets and how many people they let in, including volunteers. So now that it's online, I really doubt they'll put a limit on it, as it's online and free, or kind of sort of free, but it's a bit more broad and open. So I'm looking forward to it now that it might be on YouTube. Question mark, hoping so I can, just watch it free. I don't really have the money to spend on a ticket, so it's just waiting again for it to become in August.
Yeah, we still have those questions where we don't know if it's going to be a paid ticket to get into Twitch, or a paid ticket to watch the YouTube videos. It's going to be really interesting to see how all of that plays into effect. And I do agree that you should be having a larger audience now that you don't have to be there in person, and you don't have to worry about certain things like space capacity or fire safety issues. You can just show up, learn about the scene, and go from there. The next thing, we have a brand new press release for the Xbox X Series. So we are going to take a quick look at that.
Here we come with the new wave, out with the old and in with the new days, breaking all of the rules made. Now we evolving into a new age. Here we go, here we go. No resisting, we came on a mission to break through the ceiling and lift up the vibe. I brought a village with me in the building, believe in the vision, the dream is alive. I see no clouds in the future, the sky looking bluer, and I'm on a beautiful ride. I'm on that infinite vibe, I'm about to really arrive. I have arrived, I'm going up to the sky, and you know I'm a fly. I came to turn up the heat, let the temperature rise. Now is the time, the moment is prime, I'm giving it all that I got, and I'm about to blow up the spot, whether you ready or not. Ready or not, here we go, go, go. Feel like I've been set free, feel like a brand new me. Are you ready or not? Bright as a light beam, opening my wings. Feel like I might scream, feel like I'm riding on lightning, yeah. Waited a long time for the right time, and it's my time now. Come on and be free, let the weight fall, let your light shine now. Look at the love I found, yeah, I know you gon' love my style. I'm making my debut, let me know how you like me now. Here we go, go, yeah. You ready or not? Here we go, go. Feel like I've been set free, feel like a brand new me. Are you ready or not? Here we go, go.
So yeah, that was the Xbox X Series trailer. We got a brand new look at a lot of the games that are coming. And later on, they actually displayed a whole thing of the companies that are working with them, such as Capcom, Sega, Square Enix, and way more. But if anything, this is putting a lot of pressure on Sony considering that we still don't know a lot about the PS5 or what's coming to it, but the Xbox X Series is like, here we go. Here's the games. Here's what they look like. And yeah,
They
if
look
anything,
amazing, by the way. Like I was just watching it, and it's super duper pretty, super duper updated, and it looks just amazing. Like I don't know, like it's nice.
yeah, it's just a pretty looking trailer. If anything, you
Mhm.
understand how well the graphics are going to be done on this X series. We still don't know. We know the size and dimension now. We know a lot more about the hardware and about the whole quality of the game itself going into what the Xbox X Series has to offer. We don't know a release date yet. We just know it's holiday 2020. But I do agree. This is going to be a little bit of fire on the heels of Sony and the PS5 announcements. We still don't know a lot
Mhm.
about that, and if they want to compete during the holiday season, we need to know a little bit more. But yeah, let's move on into gamer gear. This is kind of a recurring segment that we have on the show where we go and discuss certain pieces of equipment that we use um, as gamers, I guess.
Mhm.
So today we're going to be talking about the one-two combo of headphones and microphones. Um, these are something that are very necessary for gaming. You need to be able to calm. We learned that very well from, being on esports teams, listening in on their what they say during games, um, and then also being able to know, where the sound is coming from. It's very important. Are they behind you? Are they on your left, your right? Are they on top of your head? You don't know, unless you have a solid headset. But we do have three tiers of budget here. We're going to be starting out with the low end, which is the HyperX Cloud Alpha 2s. This is honestly a very solid set. The Alpha 2s is literally like a headset and microphone. I have the headset, which is the I don't have the Cloud Alphas. I have the Cloud Stratus, I believe. But this with this microphone that's usually plugged into the side is still pretty solid. But I decided to upgrade to a bigger microphone because I think it's just
You grew
cooler.
up.
I grew up a little bit. I didn't want this. The tendency with these headset and mic things is like sometimes the mic is too close to your mouth. If you're a heavy breather, sometimes people are like, dude, I could hear you. You're breathing into my ear.
You're living
Um,
too loud. Yeah, I've
yeah,
heard it.
it's like too sweaty in these games. But yeah, honestly, like a basic start is to just get a headset that comes with a microphone, and then yeah, using that to start off. Um, yeah, so we're going to be moving on into the mid tier here, which is the medium budget. We're talking about $100 to $120 here. For the headset, we have the Philips Audio Fidelio, which is solid. We have the Blue Yeti Caster, which is a USB microphone. Comes with the arm and shock mount, which are also very important. And then we have the all-in-one Audio Technica, which is a headphone and mouse combo, or a headphone and microphone combo, that works really well. um I actually had a Blue Yeti before. I decided to not go forward with it just because it's kind of big,
Oh,
and as a gamer for myself, like I need to be able to see my screen. Um, Sometimes I actually like have a tendency of swinging this out of the way because it does like block some of the line of vision sometimes. But honestly, if you're looking for a really good pro setup, separate microphone and headset works really well. And especially when we're talking about um, $200 headsets and microphones, you would expect them to be really good. Um,
mhm.
so yeah, we went from low, we're now at medium. Let's get to the high tier. This is if you have like money to shell out. Not me, but honestly, I wish I did. We're starting out with the all-in-one, which is the GSP 600, which is a Sennheiser set that's got a brilliant headphone and mic, like all in one. Um, then we have the Sennheiser HD 598 CS, which is just the headphones, and the Blue Yeti Pro, which is the which is the microphone. Um, along that is pretty much what it is. That's just solid as is. Now this is a full package if you wanted to splurge, like 1K plus on a full setup. We have the Blue Yeti Pro with the Go XLR, um, a blue compass arm, which is pretty much just holding down everything, a shock mount by Blue Radius, and all of that together uh, sits a little bit over $1,000. Not gonna lie, I do like the Go XLR. I've been trying to upgrade my equipment to get to that point. But there is a Go XLR. That's the big, soundboard thing. That's $500, but there is a Go XLR Mini, which is half the size, and $270. So if you are looking to save a little bit of desk space, you can go with the Go XLR Mini. But this whole setup is just for the way how you hear and talk to your friends online. Very important, especially like Christy, you understand how important is comms and audio, especially when it comes into, playing for a pro team and playing for the college team.
I think people take it for granted. I really understood how frustrating it was when my old microphone broke and I couldn't talk to my teams. Like, I can't ask for help. I can't call this out. So, um, yeah, it's very important as somebody who's used to using it. Like,
It's one of the
people,
very
yeah.
few senses that you don't realize how important it is until it's taken away.
Hmm.
I also think that um it's really important to know like surround sound, like especially in a game like Overwatch. You need to know, are they on the high ground, are they on low ground, are they going around the corner, are they trying to flank us, compared to, and like same thing in like CS:GO and Valorant. Now you have to be like, oh, are they rotating behind me, what kind of gun are they reloading, where are they, like all of that plays into sound, and it
Hmm.
is very important. And the microphone, obviously, you need to be able to communicate with your team. A broken team is not a working team. You could that's just with every single sport or any form of competitive team sports. You need to make sure that you can communicate. Like if I'm running straight into an enemy team, I need to know that Christie's behind me, going to be able to heal me, or is out of my line of sight, or
Hmm.
certain things are going here and there.
Yeah, and games they always put sounds for everything. Like literally everything will have a sound. So that's why it's also very important to get a good headset so you can listen to all those sounds and cues. But then coming up next week, or literally there's tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
there's Fortnite Battle Royale Party. So we're gonna kick it into a video and we're gonna look at that. So as the coronavirus pandemic has forced more people into lockdown, multiplayer games like Fortnite are becoming a pseudo social hubs where people can meet while remaining inside. So Epic Games has come up with the Fortnite Party Royale mode, which it plans to launch with a big live music event within the wildly popular game. So, and it's a Party Royale mode where it takes away all the guns and building mechanics, and it puts players on a peaceful island that's just for socializing and taking part in virtual activities like skydiving and boat races. And on top of those activities, they are also going to feature a main huge stage for real world artists to perform. So for the premiere, they're going to have three artists, which include Deadmau5, Steve Aoki, and Dylan Francis. So they will play distinct sets back to back live from Friday, May 8th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, running until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So 1 hour, don't miss it. And the Party Royale exclusive back item will be it's like a neon wings, and you can only get this between May 8th and May 11th.
Other side.
It's like,
There we go. But honestly, like, yeah, I feel like Fortnite is slowly pulling away from the whole battle royale scene, especially now that we're in the current pandemic and current lockdown situation. It's kind of cool that companies are saying, you know what, we need a place for people to socialize. We always need, the gunfights and all that stuff. We can
Mhm.
create a nice concert series for everybody, and having a great lineup like Dylan Francis, Steve Aoki, and Deadmau5 to open something like this is really important. Once again, Fortnite is a very popular game. If you guys want to hang out and listen to some music, that's definitely the way to go. I feel like this is something that, you know, could be built up later down the line. We have to realize what other artists might be interested in doing this. We saw, you know, we saw Travis Scott's whole concert series
Mhm.
from last week, and that was just insane. So, do you think Fortnite is, you know, packing up their bags and taking it away from the battle royale scene, or do you think that, you know, this is just kind of a side deal, side gig for now, and they are going to be, you know, going back to the gameplay aspect of it?
I think it's going to be the same approach, kind of like how Minecraft has their survival mode and their creative mode, which people do both equally. So, because it is an interesting aspect to have in the game, you know, like just lifestyle aspect. So, I don't think, like, I hope they don't get rid of this because it's a really cool game mode that I think will really pop off.
Do you think other games might take inspiration from this potentially and just be like, you know what, if they're doing this, we should maybe grab a couple people and do a concert series of our own? If so, which game do you think would be like an amazing place to host something like this?
An amazing place. It's very hard. I mean, I think the next closest game that could integrate this kind of mode would be Apex Legends, as it is kind of like a maturer Fortnite,
Hmm.
but it is also a maturer Fortnite, meaning that it's not as um, fun. They don't have that cartoony, funnish aspect to going with it. So it's hard to see another game really doing this and pulling off as well as Fortnite could.
Yeah, I do understand, and I do agree. I feel like Fortnite is one of the very few games where like everybody's there,
Mhm.
so it's a lot easier for people to get in. Um, I wouldn't mind seeing this in something like an MMO of some sorts if they really wanted to push the boundaries, in a way. But yeah, I do feel like, you know, third person, you know, gaming kind of way is the way to go for these concert series. But yeah, once again, it is going to start tomorrow. If you guys want to take a look at the Fortnite Battle Royale party, that will be going on literally tomorrow.
Don't miss it. It's the event item stops May 11th. So you have this literally only this weekend to get it.
So yeah, we are going to be closing out pretty soon. But before we do that, let's talk about, you know, the question of the week that we had last week. Last week we asked you, who would you like to see join a Valorant Pro team? It could be either friends or, you know, other competitors, maybe a top streamer that you think deserves the spot. We had a couple responses. One of them was from our very own Kairos, from Art U. He tagged TCat, Stunner, Kaleo, and he says the winning team. And this is in response to the Ronin Rumble. He did really solid. Not gonna lie. Sadly, he didn't make it to top 8. He could say, "Oh, I made it to top 16," but no, he got knocked out by Spot Up, unfortunately. But Spot Up did end up being the third place team, so they were a very strong team. But honestly, like, I don't mind seeing the rest of them. If TCat, Stunner, Kaha, and Karos want to make a group, I will not be your fifth. I will be your designated sandbag if you
You'll
really
be
need it.
their caster then. How about that?
I'll just cast the. I'm just here to watch the good gameplay. Okay, I can't do it myself. Um, but yeah, honestly, that is just the way how it is. If you guys want to tweet at us in terms of giving us a little bit more to deal with, then yeah. But we have a brand new question for this week, which is, what was your first game? What was your first game that you played? How long have you been playing it? And you know, why? Why is that game special to you? If you guys want to tweet at us at RU Esports with the hashtag Esports Update, and we will be featuring some of your tweets in next week's episode.
Yep. So tweet us, and we'll feature you, or we might feature you if it's good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games that I would consider like your first, right? You can
Mhm.
you could talk about the educational games that your parents put in front of you because they're
Oh, are
like,
we counting that?
I mean, you can
Oh.
count that if you want. I mean, I was a Freddy Fish guy, the Pajama Sam. Like, those were my original games. But like the first games that like, you know, made me love video games in the first place, I have to draw back to like, you know, Pokemon and all the other games that really got me to the place where I am now. So um, it's kind of an open question. Your first game could either be, you know, your educational games or, you know, the first thing that really got you into gaming.
Right, and that is it for this week. Tune in again next week at 4 o'clock p.m.
Yeah. So thank you for watching Esports Update Weekly. I'm Kevin Tagupa. That is Christy Liu. We will see you guys next week.